Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Sherman. I'm a junior at the University of Texas at Austin and founder of Longhorn Students for Israel. And I have the privilege of speaking with Ari Ackerman here today. Instead of hearing a little bit about, of course, we want to learn about who you are and as a person, but I really want to dive into strategy, where we are as a society, how we could help students today, and what we could expect in the future based on your experiences as a father, as a leader, as a businessman, as a former college student an Israel advocate, both private and also in your public life as well. So I know that your grandfather
That's a lot of
was,
stuff to learn. I don't know how long we're going to talk, but that's a lot of stuff. So hopefully we get through, you know,
we'll
I'm
see what we
teasing.
can squeeze out here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that previously that your grandfather was one of the founders of Israel around the table with the president of UJA, putting this country to where it is today, now 77 years young, potentially. And for many, kind of fast forwarding, October 7th was a turning point. How would you say that October 7th changed your approach to leadership and advocacy previously than you've had in your career?
So for me personally, first of all, you mentioned my grandfather, who was absolutely my role model, mentor, everything you want to say, my everything. He was the a real leader in the Jewish community, as you mentioned, one of the founders of the state of Israel, a real legend. But most importantly to me was my papa, was the man that gave me my bath every night when I was an infant, and I've developed a very strong personal connection with. He loved me like a son. He treated me like a son. I loved him like a father, I should say. And so he's the one that initially instilled in me, and along with my mom, he was my mom's father, the love of Israel, passion for Zionism, really the importance of giving back more than you possibly can. And he's the one that put it in me initially to go out and host events, to go out and do speeches in front of um, audiences in the Jewish community on college campuses, to host events in my home for literally every Jewish charity. This was in my mother's heart as well. My sister and I used to think we had a Jewish catering hall as a living room because she hosted every Jewish event, and I tried to do the same. I tried to live in their honor. I lost my mom about 10 years ago, my grandfather about 5 years ago, and I try to do all I can every day in their memory, in their honor, and in the support of the state of Israel. And you asked about after October 7th, so I was giving these speeches beforehand, but these speeches turned into online advocacy. And, I quickly learned after October 7th, I didn't know what a reel was like 14 months ago. Like I was at this dinner, influencer dinner, and somebody said to me, you give all these speeches, like people aren't seeing them enough. You need to do this online. You do it on reels. And I was on Instagram, but I was doing those, just the pictures. I wasn't doing videos. And, and then people are like, you should do this. So I started doing these reels, and I quickly realized that you can reach a larger audience very quickly. And, they just became more and more popular. And I'm very proud of what I've done post October 7th in trying to communicate the message of pro Israel advocacy and fighting the media when they just keep lying about what takes place in Israel, and, supporting the Jewish community any way I possibly can. And that really means college students, because you guys are on the front line and you didn't ask to be on the front line. I went to college and I was able to join a fraternity and have a good time and party a lot and not worry about whether I was going to be hit when I walked across the quad because I wore a Jewish star, or I didn't wear yarmulkes, but I was, people knew I was Jewish. I didn't have to worry about that. Now you guys do. And it's a really scary, horrible situation that you even have to think about it on college campuses. And anything I can do online in terms of advocacy, I'm trying to do, because you shouldn't be on the front lines. It should be people like myself or other, older people who have just been in the world a lot, been in the world a little bit longer, who should take on those responsibilities.
That's great. So prior to your advocacy career, which hopefully will last and make influence for many years to come, you were a successful tech executive and founder. Can you talk a little bit about some of these transferable and tradable skills that you developed and experienced, adaptability, innovation, resilience that you've seen applicable into where you are today?
Well, it's an interesting question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. I was the founder of bunk1.com, which is the online tech services for summer camps. So I introduced technology into a into an arena, the summer camp business, that uses the same dishware that they did in the 1950s. And I introduced it in a time where nobody was using technology yet. So I was basically giving websites to summer camp owners when they didn't even have a website usually, and they were able to then use those websites to post pictures of the kids at camp. The parents could send emails that are printed out for the kids, and it became a very prominent business. I had 2,000 camps for many years. And you ask about transferable skills. I think there are a lot of transferable skills because I was sort of fighting this battle of trying to convince somebody that hadn't changed their cutlery, as I said, in so many years, that they should put their pictures of their children on the internet. And so it takes like persuasion, it takes the ability to communicate, it takes teamwork by bringing other people in to help me do these things, which is exactly what we need to do right now in terms of our online Jewish advocacy. We need to have partners. We need to have the people the Jewish community has supported for so many years come now and help us when we need the help the most in terms of our advocacy. Stand up for us right now. We need to be able to communicate the truth. This is so important. The truth is not out there right now. There are so many lies on TikTok, especially on Instagram, even in our newspapers, that Israel is committing all these atrocities, genocide, apartheid. You hear all these words that people throw around. They don't even know what they mean, and they're not true. And you have to be able to communicate effectively in order to show people that Israel is the most moral army in the world. That yes, unfortunately, war is terrible, and there will be civilian casualties, but the ratio of civilian to military casualties is the lowest it's ever been in a war like this before. It's 1 to 1, when the ratio is usually more like 8 to 1 in a war. And unfortunately, this is a war that Israel didn't want. They didn't start, but they have to defend themselves. They have to get the hostages back. And this is what they need to do right now. So we have to use our entrepreneurial skills, as you said in the initial question, teamwork, communication, in order to make sure that the message is sent to people out there that really need to hear it.
So I think it's an interesting point because now I want to bring it down to maybe the student and campus advocacy level. Is that people say you have leaders and you have followers, and I've experienced as a student leader that you have a certain geography that's hyper engaged, that will show up to every event, that's following the right pages, that's becoming well informed, and you have a decent amount of, maybe let's talk about Jewish students, we'll maybe talk about allies later in the conversation, that are there for when the time matters. They'll go for an October 7th memorial. They'll go when there's rallies on campus because they want to see the drama that's going on. How would you say it's important to have the leaders and the followers? Are those quote unquote followers also leading in their own respective ways? And how have you seen the general Jewish population specifically on campus in supporting Israel and doing their own work in their own respective ways?
Well, you say leaders and followers. I mean, I think everybody is a leader in some way. Everybody in our day and age right now, everybody has to advocate. Everybody has a platform, whether it's one person, 10 people, or 50,000 people, it doesn't matter. And you have a responsibility right now when the Jews are in the fight for the survival of our people, and I really believe that, to advocate and to do what you can, whether that's leader or follower. I don't even know if those laws apply anymore. There's only 15 million Jews in the world. And we all have a responsibility to do what we can right now. You have to understand the message. You have to understand what's really taking place in the world, and you have to be able to effectively communicate that message, even if it's to your one best friend that doesn't really know what's going on. So that's in terms of the answer. That's what I would say in terms of what what needs to happen right now.
Yeah. I've listened to a previous interview, and you mentioned that the two most important things in your life are your family and your Jewish identity, which I think are
Good, nice
amazing.
job doing the research. I like that.
So are there any Jewish values that have guided your leadership to where we are today, which is that some people have experienced event fatigue. Where are the hostages? They need to be released home. Why has the war not been ended yet? And we're almost in this endless circle of ebbs and flows where people are exhausted, unfortunately, and the fight still needs to continue. So are there any Jewish values that you could relate to where we are today, and to say that, like, hey, like we have to keep fighting and we have to keep going? I wonder if there's anything that you wanted to mention.
I say this a lot when I speak to people. Unfortunately, if they told you differently, it's not true. It's not easy being Jewish. It's, our
Yeah.
parents the most important thing that our parents gave us was the fact that they made us Jewish. I'm such a proud Jew, and I can't wait to pass that on. I already have to my next generation. We were very young, but it's not an easy thing, and you have to understand that going into your life in some way, because you'll always be the Jewish something. You're the Jewish banker, you're the Jewish insurance broker, you're the Jewish baseball player. And that comes with the responsibility of what our people are all about, which is kindness and generosity, tikkun olam, repairing the world. We don't even have responsibility just to ourselves. We have a responsibility to the world to make sure that we're making our mark and we're doing something good. So yeah, I mean, we have this. This is our role right now. This is the position we're in right now, and we all have to do what we can. Tell me the question though again, because I kind of veered off a little bit.
Sarah, no, I think that's fair. It's just more about any Jewish values that have kind of
So the
you
Jewish
recommend
values,
to
I
guys through the
said, it's
career.
like, we're kind, we're generous, we're giving, but we're also very resilient as a people. And resiliency is very important right now because it's not an easy time. In every generation, b'chol dor vador, we have this enemy that wants to come annihilate us, and we're seeing it right now again. Anti-Semitism, Jewish hatred is just so horrific right now. So it's all of our responsibilities to do all we can to fight for the Jewish people, to fight for the ancestry, thousands and thousands of years of Jewish ancestry. How many generations have survived in order to have the miracle that you're Jewish and that I'm Jewish? It's this, a mathematician would say it's impossible that we survive, but we have. So it's our responsibility to continue to do all we can to make sure that we survive for a million more generations to come as the Jewish people.
I think it's amazing. A quote related to Tikkun Olam that you mentioned, it's a little bit more of a ripoff, is by Dr. Zohar Avi, which states, turning the world in which we live into the world in which we believe. And I think that's so true to create buy-in and an incentive for people to really get into that mission. Right after October
Nice.
7th, the Miami Marlins were the first pro sports league to publicly support Israel. What experience did that teach you about the unseen lies, the unseen potential and power that lies within allied communities that you didn't immediately expect?
Well, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Not the first league, but the first team
Okay.
in all of sports to post after October 7th. I say in baseball, but I haven't seen another team that posted before us. We posted on Instagram in support of Israel and the Jewish community October 8th in the afternoon. Nobody's ever shown me a team that hasn't posted before. There are teams that posted after, including, by the way, the Major League Baseball Players Association, which I think is a very cool thing that they did. Um, so in terms of like doing that, I'm very proud to be part of an organization that did that. And what it showed me is that what I kind of said earlier is that we all had the platform, and I had this platform as an owner of the Marlins to do what I can to support my Jewish faith, my Jewish community, state of Israel. And so right after October 7th happened, I called my partners, I called our marketing team, and I pushed the fact that we needed to do this immediately. And by the way, Miami doesn't have the biggest Jewish community in the world, as you know. There are other cities that are a lot bigger, but because I'm the one that pushed it, we got it out there as quickly as we did. And, I'm very grateful to my partners, to our senior partner who was all in support of it, to our marketing leads who did the work. They're the ones that actually posted. I wrote them what I thought they should say. They changed it a little bit. They posted what they wanted to post, but it was a very strong post in support of Israel. And we do have allies like that we can hopefully go to. And it is proven in the case of the Miami Marlins because we're not the Miami Maccabees. We're a team that has a lot of different religions involved. We have a lot of different people who are in the organization, yet we all still came together as a baseball team to support a community that really needed to be supported.
So, um, what's next? What's next for our Jewish student uh, leaders, followers, whatever we categorize themselves as? What are we doing well today, and what do we need to do better for tomorrow?
It's tough for me to say, I don't have any kids in college, and you should always listen to your parents, by the way, in terms of this answer, what you need to do, where you're going. But I would say because what I said earlier, we're in the fight for the survival of our people. As long as you're in a safe situation, stand up loud and proud, as loudly and proudly as you possibly can be. Wear the yarmulke, go to Shabbat dinners, wear the Jewish star. go to rallies in support of Israel. Do what you can to like not back down from all the hate. I say that, and I want you guys all to be safe and make sure that you don't do anything dangerous. But this is what we need to do right now. I hate to put it on you, but you are on the front lines. The college campuses have become a front line for the fight for the survival of Israel. And we need you. We need you out there doing all you can. And if you need any help, I have your back. So many people have your back. You can always call on me, count on me, add me on Instagram, follow me, DM me. I respond to every single one of my DMs, especially if they're from college students. And if I can help, I will help. I speak on a lot of college campuses. I do a lot of Zooms to college campus kids, to college campus students. You guys aren't kids; you're really leaders, adults. And I will continue to do all I can.
Sure, that's great. I was told we have time for one more question.
Make
So
it
we'll
a fun one, man.
squeeze.
Make it a good one. My God, one more
I
question.
know I gotta cook something up. What is something that, if we really want to go for it, what's something that you believe to be true that most others do not around you when it comes to Jewish and Israel advocacy?
I believe Jews are better athletes than we get credit for. I think as a baseball owner and stuff like that, how many Jews do you think were in Major League Baseball last year?
Give it a 15.
Good. Wow. We had 16 Jews last year in Major League Baseball. But you only say that number because you would have said like three or four had I not sort of prefaced it like,
Potentially.
so like, the Yankees' best pitcher is Jewish. Our first baseman on the Marlins is Jewish, who was leading the league in homers, by the way, a week ago. And by the way, we had Passover at the park in our stadium last week, and I was giving a fireside chat in the third and fourth inning, and I was talking about Matt Mervis, who's our first baseman, played for Team Israel, by the way. And he hit a home run while exactly when I was speaking. And I just said, I hope he hits a home run. And then he hits a home run. Anyway, good story. So you asked me, I'm trying to be a little fun in terms of my last answer, what people don't know.
Great.
But I truly believe we contribute in so many ways. I mean, the ways is Jewish. I didn't even mean that, but no pun intended. But Israeli company, like Jews just contribute to society in so many ways that it just makes me so proud that, we're what percent of the population, and we have how many Nobel Peace Prize winners and scientists and doctors and lawyers and people who are just doing so many great things for the community and athletes that it just makes me so proud to be Jewish that we're all doing some stuff like this. And look at you, such a young, mature, handsome man doing good for the Jewish community like you're doing right now. So proud of you. Really great meeting you in December and really, great work on everything you do as well.
I appreciate that. All right.